Welcome, everyone. And it's right at 2 o'clock. Thanks for showing up. I'm going to try and figure out how to turn off my volume settings so that you don't keep on hearing that noise the entire time. So thanks for your patience. While I'm doing that, if you haven't already, please find or remember and try to find where you've downloaded the QSF files. We will be accessing them soon. And also log into your Qualtrics account as well. Also, if anyone knows how to turn off the noise from your experience with Zoom, I would love that.
Your audio seems to be coming through good on this end.
Awesome, good to know. And again,
Willie, can you hear me?
yes, can y'all?
All right, perfect. Yes,
y'all
yep, I can hear you now. My computer is being weird, so all right, perfect.
It's fine. Again, just trying to figure out how to turn off this noise.
Oh, you're good. Stacy,
Mike.
yes, I will ask in regards to the account accessibility after you get locked out. I will ask someone real quick on that.
Let's wait a few more minutes in case there's some more people being admitted or while we wait for them. Again, if you haven't already, find those QSF files. We will use those soon and try to log into your Qualtrics account. If you can't yet, we do have some Qualtrics representatives here today, and we will try to get that addressed. If not, we will definitely be in communication with you.
Yeah, for anyone waiting still to get either an account set up or brand admin switch or anything like that, just know that we are working on the back end here with our provisioning team. So I appreciate the patience, but we will get that addressed as soon as possible.
I know I just spent an hour going back and forth with Qualtrics only to find out that it was my school that has to give me their one login, even though Qualtrics has a page that says this is how you create your login for your account. It was kind of a mess.
I apologize for the mess. Did you end up getting it figured out, Mark?
Yeah, once they
Okay.
explained what a brand representative was.
Yeah.
It's like, can you use English, please?
Yes,
like,
yes.
Is this USB-E? Is this my school? And they're like, well, yes, you're IT person. I'm like, I'm pretty much the IT person, which means really we don't have one. So what are you talking
Yeah.
about? You know?
Yeah. So
Common
Brandon,
language would be great.
yeah, for any of those who are newer to Qualtrics that are on here, brand admin is just your guys' main administrator on the account. And then they're the one that has the ability to add, like Mark was saying, to add users and login information. And if you ever have issues where a brand administrator on your side has left, that's when you need to reach out to us at Qualtrics, and we have a way to work with provisioning to get you guys set up on a new brand administrator.
Awesome. It's almost 2:05. Let's go ahead and get started. I think the amount of people are starting to slow down in the mission, so we'll have USB representative emit those as needed. Thank you so much for your time today. I will try to be as efficient as possible and try to answer the questions as best you can. So without further ado, welcome to the second iteration of the School Climate Survey 2023. We're here to just set it up and just some webinar norms. If you have any questions, if you could put them in the chat, that would be great. And we will answer them at the end of the presentation during the Q&A session. That way we can just have a nice flow and just address things as needed. By the way, how am I coming through still? Is my pace still good? Just want to make sure that we can listen and hear me.
Yep.
Perfect.
Awesome. And feel free to let me know that if I do need to slow down or go go back a slide, but I will just try to keep through. And if you hear any weird noises, I apologize. I do have a few pets in the background. So just the agenda today and some outcomes that I hope we can achieve. We'll have some introductions, the legislative background for the school climate survey. We'll set it up. I'll give an overview, and then we'll also have a demonstration along with the Q&A so we can answer your questions while we do this demonstration, and we can do that together. So you'll get it twice today. Outcomes, again, just understanding that legislative context, why we need to do it, where did this come about, setting up that survey in Qualtrics, and if for some reason we're experiencing issues today, accessing today's resources. So without further ado, I'm Willie Chen. I've been the one spamming your emails, and I'm the school safety data analyst for USBE. I also have with me Win Shooter. He's the USBE Qualtrics brand administrator. You may have been in contact with him. Win, would you like to say anything?
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Willie.
No problem. We also have Qualtrics representatives Nikki Miner and Mike Powell, and Merkle representatives Pradeep Kotian and Jagdish Bhagat.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having us with you today. I am Nikki and I support your account along with Mike. I will be monitoring the chat today with Mike. Please feel free to drop any questions that you have in, and we will also actively be working to troubleshoot any issues that you guys have, just like we did with Stacy.
Thanks, Nikki. Yeah, I echo what Nikki just said. Also, if there's anything you guys need in the future, I will drop our emails in the chat so you can have access to that in case there's any problems you have once we are off this call.
Awesome, thank you. Mike and Nikki, would y'all like to say anything else before we move on to the technical setup?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Willie. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, so the other thing I wanted to mention too is if there's anyone new to Qualtrics or hasn't used Qualtrics or is looking for other use case situations that you can use your license to its fullest within your own LEA, feel free to reach out to me or Nikki, and we're more than happy to walk through things, set up a call to talk through different use cases or different ways that you can utilize the platform. Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you guys are getting the full utilization out of the software that the USB was gracious enough to purchase for the entire state. So like I said, I'll drop my email in the chat, and if there's any questions around that or just want to have a kind of a whiteboarding session, we're more than happy to jump on those calls. Thanks, Willie.
You're welcome. All right, then let's go ahead and get started. Legislative background, some of you are familiar with this and some of y'all aren't. That's okay. Just a reminder, in accordance with section 53(3)802, the state board shall create a model school climate survey that may be used by the LEA to assess stakeholder perception of a school environment. The state board provides recommendations for survey parameters. And as a reminder, nothing in this section requires an individual to respond to a school climate survey. General background, this pilot year was first administered in 2021 spring. And the respondents groups included students grouped by different grades, administrators, teachers, staff, parents, and school resource officers in the adult survey. The survey design was modeled after the U.S. Department of Education school climate surveys from the National Center for Education Statistics. We pulled and utilized questions from 3 questionnaires: the student, instructional staff, and non-instructional staff. So I'm going to begin the technical walkthrough. You're welcome to follow along as we go, but I will also let you know once we finish this, I will also demonstrate again. So for those of y'all that like to multitask, go ahead and get started. Make sure you have your Qualtrics account up. For those of y'all that just want the big overview before doing the demonstration, that's fine too. So you got 2 options here. So with that being said, I will start. And again, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat and I will answer. And Win or Nikki and Mike will try to answer as best we can towards the end. So Again, this should have already been completed. The first step was downloading the QSF files. If you need a link to the school resource folder, I will go ahead and drop that in the chat for y'all. If for some reason you haven't still done it, but most of us should have already. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the next step. If you are experiencing an issue in this first step though, which has happened, reach out and we will try to fix that later. But at least still continue to watch the seminar. So as a reminder, there are 4 versions of the school climate survey. Your LEA will need to use the version that is most appropriate. So that's going to be the adults, K2, 3, 5, or 6 through 12th grades. Since everyone has parents and guardians for their LEA, we're going to start with the adult survey on how to set that up. And then in the demonstration section, we'll just pull another student group. So you should have been logged into your Qualtrics account. We're going to start to create the survey. So if you can go to the navigational icon on the top left, it's the 3 lines near the XM. Click on that, then go to catalog, click survey, and then click get started.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm on my Qualtrics main page and there's no 3 dots in the upper right.
Is this Robert Warren, the single, is this where it's a single
Not
version?
there for me either.
No,
Okay,
it was not me. The single version was a different question.
okay.
The 3 dots will actually pop up, or the 3 lines will pop up if you click on the top anyways. So if you just go, if you click anywhere outside of your main homepage, it does appear, but it's not there on the main page.
So there's the learn how to create, pin widgets, and create and activate your first survey. Which one do we go to? Create a survey?
Let's pause here. Let me pause my screen. And let me see what's going on here. That is very interesting. So I think if I understood correctly, we are not getting the 3 lines, but are we at least at a home screen? Do y'all have a home screen?
Some of us have the 3 lines.
So
Okay.
I see the 3 lines and I'm in.
Okay, so in the interest of everyone's time, if you have these 3 lines, go ahead and continue as we go on. And if we don't have them, please be patient and we'll just continue the webinar. That way we can just use everyone's time as best we can. And I'm sorry for that frustration there, but thank you for your patience. So we'll have to determine what's going on in the back end. With that being said, and thank you again for bringing that up to my attention. For those that can access this, we'll go on to the next steps then.
But an option, if you don't have the menu that we're looking at, another option might be at the bottom. Perhaps you have an option for creating survey.
Ooh, you mean like
Create new project. You
Yeah,
might
do y'all
see
have
at the
this?
bottom left.
create a
You
new
could-
project?
You could get to the same place via that as well, I believe.
Hold on.
Do some of y'all have that then? Thanks for that suggestion, Win. So I'll go back on that. Try to look for a create a new project button. And again, if y'all don't have that showing up, then we'll try and address it later in the Q&A.
Okay, so
Thanks again for that suggestion, Win. Really appreciate it.
okay, so
All right, so
okay, so from the home screen, we should just go from scratch, create a survey.
yep, go catalogs, create a survey, get started.
Create a survey. Right.
All right, so we'll try to put most of the questions still at the end, but that was definitely a question we need to address. So thank you again so much for bringing that to my attention. Let's name your survey now. Please name it 2023 School Climate Survey. Insert your LEA name, and then the group, since we're going to do the adult survey, please label it as the adult survey. So you can see on the right, I've put an example of the Alpine School District adult survey. Obviously, you will put your LEA name. When you have inputted the name, you will want to go to the section where it says, how do you want to start your survey? And click the option import a QSF file. I will give a warning. This is where some of y'all may now start to have some technical issues. So we'll see what happens when you choose a file. You're going to click choose a file. And now you're going to try and find your QSF file that you downloaded a while ago and find the adult survey. And when you have found that, you'll attach that file and then click create project. This will take a few moments because everyone has their files in a different location. So
It
I
worked
will.
fine for me.
One more time.
I was just saying it worked fine.
Awesome. You know, we've had a few LEAs that have had some issues, so it's just not unexpected, or don't be surprised if something happens.
So I have a question. I downloaded the folder and I know where it is and I can see it if I go to my folders, but when I go to Qualtrics and I pick choose file, it's not there.
Make sure that your settings are for all file types.
Also, make sure you unzip it.
Okay, thank you.
Good one. That's probably it.
Yes, I think that was one of the questions too. Please unzip the file. And I will try to go slower. Thank you for letting me know that I am going a little too fast. And again, don't stress, I will also do a demonstration
When
after
we
this.
download these. Oh my God, it's not working.
Mark, we're starting with the adult survey for now. So we will do, you can do a K through 8 later. And then what was that question just now for the person who just spoke?
Well, when I'm going, I downloaded them into my download, into my, doesn't, oh, I see why. Now I see why. Maybe.
Okay. If it's asking you what program to use to open it, and it wants to search online, there should be at the bottom somewhere that says open as a .qsf file. And if it still doesn't, then you might have to put a pause there and we'll have to actually look at your screen because there's been some issues with that, Mark. So just want to I did see that question. Okay, I'll give, let me give at least one more minute because again, this is one of the longest parts, just finding the file. And then hopefully the rest will be a little smoother. Again, for those of y'all that are having issues, again, thanks for your patience. We'll try to get this worked through as best we can. And if you're not seeing that option to open as a QSF, you might have to just watch for now. And again, we'll just see where to go from there.
Hey, Mark, you don't actually need to open the file. You just need to download it. And then when you go in here to import a QSF file, it'll enable you to choose the file in here. You may recall that in Willie's initial instructions, it said do not open the file. And this is why, because QSF is Qualtrics survey format, and you can really only open it in Qualtrics. So anyone trying to open the file, your computer might get a little bit confused and search the internet on what you'll be able to open it with. But once you're in the screen, you'll be able to import it and it'll open for you.
Okay, let's take a deep breath here and let's try to move on. Again, I will show a demonstration. So if we're still experiencing issues, maybe just put a pause, and at least that you can see what the rest of the process looks like eventually. And I really appreciate everyone trying to help out each other. That's always nice. So for those of you that have been successful in at least importing the survey, you should now have your general screen. And what we'll need to do now is go to the embedded data section. This is going to be in the icon where the survey flow is. So you'll need to click that icon on the left side, and then you'll see a green box. And in that green box, there will be a line that says LEA name, value will be set from panel or URL. Click on set a value now, and then you will get a prompt to insert a custom value. And so you'll need to use the name as seen in the appendix for the LEAs. So I'm going to drop that in the chat. So let me share that right now. When you go to this Google Drive folder, that works. When you go to this Google Drive folder, you will find the LEA name for embedded data. Actually, can y'all still see the presentation? I'm not seeing my presentation. I'm not sure what happened to it.
We see
No.
your screen share of
Yeah.
your Google Drive.
Okay. You'll go here for the embedded data, and I will try and find my PowerPoint. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, there it is. So I'll give you all a few moments to find your LEA name. Just copy and paste your LEA name into the embedded data.
So Willie, when we drop it in, it's going to be the number dash and then the name exactly as it appears in the cell, right?
Perfect.
So do we have to have had the survey in there before we can move forward with the rest of this?
Yes, I
Okay,
believe.
then I'm just gonna listen and just. So my survey has gone into that Google Drive and I can't pull it out of, anyway, I don't know what's going on. Who knows?
We'll see what we can do towards the end of that, but yeah, this can be really frustrating. So I totally get you when I was starting out with this stuff. So thanks for your patience on that. Jason,
Sorry, can you repeat how do I click on LEA name and how do I embed the data?
yeah. The LA, where it says LA name, you're going to click on set a value now.
Oh, okay.
And when you click on set a value now, it should pop up a custom name.
And that's where I put my name, like the school name?
Yes, which should have that letter number combination and then dash and then the LEA name. Dale, that error has popped up every once in a while. We'll probably have to address it towards the end of the webinar, because I know some LAs have been getting that, but that might need to have been a downloading part.
Okay, thank you.
Seems like we're all having problems with the set value now, or a few of us are. We're getting page unresponsive wait. I've seen 2 or 3 messages in the chat, so I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah. Have you also tried to click maybe value will be set from panel or URL? It should be clicking around one of those two. That might help. Let me get the Google Drive link again.
Yeah.
But to access that Google Drive link, it's been in the emails. It's also on the.
We're not even getting the ability, we're not even getting the field to put that name in from the Google Drive, I think is the problem.
Yeah, I can't do it as well. It won't even let me click.
We're getting an error.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're saying if you're trying to click Google Drive, it won't let you copy paste it to go in.
Exactly.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying set value now gives me an error of pages unresponsive.
Same.
Ooh, all right. So let me address those 2 questions. For the Google Drive, if you can't copy and paste, just type it for now. And it's probably a setting thing from the admin. As for getting the error on the embedded data, we'll probably have to put in pin in that as well. And we'll have to work on it from, that might be a Qualtrics thing as well. Nikki or Mike, let me know. And we'll see why you're getting an error message from that.
But it might help if you could do a little lab demo of what this looks like in real time. If you have
Okay, yeah, you know what,
that
that's fine
loaded
too.
up.
I'll just do that. Well, I was
Yeah.
planning to do it later, but we can do it now.
Like step by step.
So let's
The
try
thing,
this.
if that's not working, you can refresh your page and then try and do the set value again, and it should work.
All right, so I think this is where the first part we had, importing a QSF file. And I know this is not going to be for everyone, but let's see what I get to. The adults. Open and cross my fingers. If things do go smoothly, ideally, this is what we should be seeing. We were at this part here. So I just did the downloading part and create survey. All right, so we're getting, this is the issue that we're having right now. We're going to the survey flow. And y'all are saying this is not happening for y'all. When you click set a value, y'all are not getting the custom value.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, then for that, I'm not quite sure. That may be a Qualtrics thing right there.
Could someone from?
Hey, so
our
for us, it was just
Qualtrics-
really slow. It was really slow. We had to click and then wait 5 seconds and then it came up and then wait. And so if you click too many times, it'll just freeze.
Okay, yeah, maybe try refreshing the screen. Let's see what. Are we still able to access this sheet at least? And then in this custom value, this is where you would type the number, the letter, and then LEA name. Again, for those of y'all still experiencing errors, we will have to probably work out with the Qualtrics and figure what's going on with that. Okay. Let's see the next piece. And go from there. I'll for now put, this is technically the USB. This next part though, actually, there is this one important step. You do need to click apply. If you don't click apply, it's not going to tie your LEA name to the survey. And it may take a few minutes, but once it's grayed out, it should be good to go. So the next part of this, and again, this can be frustrating, I understand. So thanks for your patience here. Apply at the bottom left, bottom right of the screen right here. So as a reminder, this is going to be a trial window today from starting today to March 10th. So we have time still if you're experiencing issues during the webinar today. And during this trial window, we will try to generate test responses. And this is going to be in the real environment, because in order to see if your survey has been set up correctly, you have to publish your survey, and that's what actually makes it active and live. So what we'll be doing is to differentiate that test data from actual stakeholder responses. Any data submitted during this time frame of the trial window, we will delete it. So to avoid any legitimate responses from being deleted, only distribute the school climate survey during the live survey window.
So mine took a few minutes, but it's working now. Do we do anything else after we click or we type in or copy and paste that LEA name?
Click apply.
And apply, you said it was on the left.
Bottom right.
Oh, the bottom right.
Yes, it's in a hard to see corner.
Yep, got it.
And I'll do this duo 2 screens in a row. That way, this it's a little small for maybe on the YouTube, but at least y'all can see. And if you can't copy and paste, some people have had issues copy and pasting, just type it. For deleting it, you both. Thank you, Wynn. Yes, the LEA names can be in the spreadsheet. Thank you, Jer. So here's where we're going to go to the next part. You'll need to publish your survey. Go to tools and then generate a test response. Make sure you're also back in the actual survey itself and click the survey icon. And once you've clicked these steps, you need to generate some responses. Okay, I can do that. You're welcome.
How many test responses do you want us to do? It automates to 5.
Right, I'm just about to get that there. I just want to make sure that we're all clicking in the right spots because I know there's a little lag for everyone. So I will get right to that. Thank you. Okay, let's answer that question now. So definitely only generate one response. As it was pointed out, it automatically does it to 5. So please generate just one response. Otherwise, you're just going to see the swirling icon for a while. And once you've changed it to 1, click generate. Now, this is actually going to be one of the other longer parts here. So while it's generating, I'm going to continue and show you what's going to happen for the rest of the survey. When your Qualtrics survey is done generating, then you can click close. But I just want to let you know this will take a while, this part of the generation, because it has to go through every single question. And I'll just show you what happens afterwards. So I hope that was not too confusing. Let me know though. Okay, I'll go back and one more time. So again, make sure in the survey icon, if you're not seeing any generating parts, so go to the icon of the clipboard looking thing. Make sure you publish your survey. Go to tools, generate test responses. And then change the default of 5 to 1. And then click generate. I will discuss about adding questions towards the end of the webinar, so we'll get there.
Right, but do we hit publish if we're going to, is the question.
I would just hit publish for now, because you can always republish again.
Okay, thanks.
And yes, thank you. All right, so again, this part's gonna take a while, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next part. That way we're just using your time wisely here. But keep those questions coming, I appreciate it. As a reminder, this is where we just did the adult survey. You need to do this again for whichever grade levels your LEA serves. So if you serve K through 12, you're gonna have to do this three more times. If you only serve a middle school, 7 to 9, you just need to do this for the 6th through 12th grades. For those serving elementaries, it's going to depend because there's K through 2, 3rd through 5th, and the 6th grade is included with the secondary. It may not be ideal, but that's just how it was set up. So we're just going to have to roll with it. So the number of times you will need to repeat this again will be dependent on your LEA. So as again, we're waiting for those test responses to be generated. Each survey needs to have one generated test response. And the reason why is we need to verify that the test responses are actually being received correctly. Just to kind of keep things fairly smooth. I'll definitely notify y'all every Monday and Wednesday for sure. So Thursday and Friday, if you haven't heard from me, that's probably fine. But if you haven't heard from me by Monday and you submitted on Wednesday, definitely email me then and I will see what happened. But I will definitely contact y'all on Monday and Wednesdays. I will also have standing office hours available every week to help y'all out. And if you can't make those office hours, contact me and we'll figure whatever it is need to be done. And once we got your test responses confirmed, we're going to delete the generated test data. So to delete those test responses, again, you may still be generating your data right now, and that's okay. You'll be going to the data and analysis section, and it's at the top of the screen towards the middle. You'll click on the necessary responses. You should only have one response. And then on the far right, you'll click the trash can to delete.
I'm confused. I thought there was a previous note that they would delete it for us. So why are we deleting it if USBE is deleting them?
We can't delete it from your own account. So you probably want to be able to distinguish in your own results test data
Okay.
from actual data. So you'll want to delete that in your account as well.
Okay.
Right, so it's
And are we deleting them now if the responses already came through and everything looks good? Do I delete it now?
don't delete it now because I haven't gone in and checked it.
Oh,
So
got it.
when do you want us to delete them?
I need to, after today, I will need to look at the data and make sure it's good. And then I
So
will email you.
Okay, so after you tell us we're good, then we can delete the test responses.
Exactly. That's why I was trying to just say, like, every Monday and
Okay.
Wednesday, I'll definitely be
Okay.
checking. Mhm. And so to answer, who's deleting again, just as a reminder, both ends, because when it comes to the data analysis, if you don't delete the test responses after I've confirmed it for you, then you will get data that's not valid into your results. And so we want to have it as accurate as possible. Make sure to click both options here when you are deleting the responses. Eventually, not today. Again, don't delete those responses yet. I still need to confirm, and then you'll delete that response. So that kind of ends the setup process today. I will
Hey,
go over the
Willie.
distribution. Let me finish
can you
this
go-
thought.
Okay,
if that's
sorry.
possible.
Yep, sorry.
I'm going to go over the distribution aspects and just general administrative procedures. And then towards the end of today, I will still go through another demonstration. So I'm not going to try and leave y'all hanging. I think was that Mike who?
Yeah, I was just asking, looks like Linda's asking if you go back to previous screen real quick. for
Oh,
her to-
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I can do that.
Sorry.
Thanks. My apologies.
Okay. Is that the one, Linda? Oh, the one before this. There you go. Perfect.
Aaron, you may need to refresh your screen because that's been happening to some people.
Okay, I have refreshed it.
Okay. For the turnaround time to verify the test responses, again, I will try to get them as fast as I can, but definitely by every Monday and Wednesday. So I hope that answers that question of when to receive confirmation. But there is not a dashboard to see if you've been confirmed, as far as I know. I don't know, is that just the general data dashboard that you posted?
That's right. That's the dashboard that's currently publicly available in the data gateway.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know of a way to view test responses through that. I don't think that's something-
No, I agree with that.
I think should be good to move forward. Thanks, Willie.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Let's see, there are 4 studies to set up. Once those are done, you are almost done with setting up the surveys. And that's why I wanted to now go to the administration part to make sure that we're clear on the distribution part. So when all goes well and you've got your test responses confirmed, you've deleted them, you have your live instrument ready to go. Few things to be mindful of. You need to use anonymous links. Also keep in mind, we should not be distributing the survey until after the trial window is closed. If you survey this early out and send it out early, that data will be deleted from our end, because we just need to be able to distinguish between the test data and valid data. Thank you, Mr. Seal. I don't know where that public dashboard is. I would have to maybe dig through my predecessor's files and see where those test results can be done in the dashboard. So I know that's a bit of a frustration there, just trying to have that lag time, but I appreciate your patience on that. And Carolina, you can email me or when to help with that. So when you start distributing the survey, you need to make sure you have anonymous links to maintain the full confidentiality for respondents. So you can share the link, through a parent portal and emails or QR code or text messages, but if you're sending it through the parent portal or emails, just be mindful that you are not tracking parents, if that makes sense. So for example, it would just need to be a general email blast to parents, but you should not be able to look in and say, oh, Mr. John Doe's family hasn't responded yet. I need to email them. If you have that capability, then that's already compromising the confidentiality of that survey response. So you need to be mindful of that. I will also be providing proctoring instructions and recommendations and sample letters in case y'all need those as well in the LA resources folder. Make sure when your administrators are determining a time for this survey, try to avoid days with a higher chance of absences. And I know most of y'all know this, but it's always good to have these reminders, particularly this time of the year when it's just as busy at the beginning and middle of the year, right? Mondays and Fridays, try to avoid those. Try to avoid school event days such as assemblies, or definitely in the smaller schools when you have half the school out for a track meet. Also try to avoid days that are before or after holidays. The big one around this time is spring break, or I think there's an Easter break or whatever there may be. One way to increase adult participation, I would try maybe administering on days with parent events at school, or on staff development days. If possible, if you have a stakeholder waiting in the wait room, maybe you could do that. You can increase student participation as well by administering at a designated time in class that all students are enrolled in. So most schools have a homeroom class or a class where they've marked to count attendance. Most students usually have an English language arts class. Those are usually the common ones to administer a survey in. Also, make sure you communicate. That's definitely a way to help increase the number of responses and the validity of them. Make sure you use all the multiple avenues of communication that are approved through your LEA. As mentioned earlier, the parent portal, announcements, newsletters, parent staff meetings, and improved social media. We'll also provide sample parent notification letters because these need to be distributed as a reminder before administering the student surveys. As for proctoring, this isn't going to be an online survey, so just make sure when your educators administer the survey, there's a fully charged electronic device around that they can take the online survey in a comfortable setting with minimal distractions. Depending on an LEA policy, these surveys are accessible through a phone. So some LEAs have their parents just take it on a phone. But again, that's going to be dependent on your LEA. As for testing time, just to prepare educators, the time to finish the survey should be reasonable for the length, and it's going to vary depending on the ability of the participant and the actual survey. From setup to administration, the entire survey time is about 20 to 30 minutes for students. So this, is taking out the Chromebooks, making sure each student has their Chromebook signed out, and then logging in or making sure all the students are on the same page. And then once you've gotten that started, then actually starting the survey itself. The average time spent on the actual survey, not including setup time, for adults is about 12 minutes. Student surveys were about 8 to 13 minutes. Yes, we will be sharing this presentation. It will be in the resource folder. Again, reminder, keep it anonymous. Also follow accommodations as required for IEPs, 504s, and anything else. And again, students may opt out of the survey as well as other participants. So I think some of y'all asked some questions and I said, hold on a second, we're getting to them right now.
Can I just add one more thing real quick?
Yes.
Just to point out, when you're thinking about increasing response rates, we loaded this adult version just want to point out who all the adult roles are that you'll be sending this to. It includes teachers, classified staff, parents, school resource officers, and administrators. As you're planning, please consider sending this to all of those roles.
Could you repeat that, Win?
I was just mentioning the roles that this needs to go to for adults. So that'll be staff, teachers, parents, school resource officers, and administrators.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So I hope I can answer some of your questions again. If you couldn't open the QSF files, it's because you aren't supposed to, you don't need to. It's the way how some of the technicalities were, Nikki addressed that earlier. If you're still experiencing issues, attend the office hours, register them, or email me later and we'll try and figure it out. And this is what I was alluding to before. If you were trying to open it, it may have caused some issues there. So we will try and get those worked out for you. So thank you for your patience on that. And the $1 million question, yes, you can add questions. Caveat, according to board rule, you may add questions, but you cannot remove, edit, or modify the existing school climate survey questions. Any additional questions that you do add by an LEA will not be seen by USBE. Here's the part though that I forgot who asked it, but someone talked about the publishing. You do need to hit publish to generate a test response. And that was just for today for those LEAs that were not going to add questions. Now, let's say you've published it today and you're like, oh, our LEA wants to add a question. Add that question, but you must republish the survey again and then also regenerate test responses and let us know to make sure that everything is going smoothly there. Again, you have to republish the survey. That way those additional questions will be seen by your stakeholders, but then notify me that we can confirm that the data is going through. So specifically, how do you add these questions? It's fairly simple. You go to the end of the survey, click add block, add any question that you think is needed for your LA, and again, republish the survey. If you don't republish it, then no one's going to see those questions.
I want to point one thing out. Sam's question, which is a great one, said, can we add additional questions at the end of the survey? And you'll notice that Willie has at the end of the survey add the block. It'll be super important that if you are adding questions that you do so at the end of the survey and not anywhere else.
And the reason being behind that is to not mess up any of the API connections talking with the results that the USB will be receiving. So echo again what everyone else said at the end.
Tammy, I'm just about to answer your question. Robert, it's totally fine that you already published. All you have to do is go add a block, add those questions, and just click republish again, and then regenerate some test responses.
Okay,
And,
just don't count mine as having been published then, when you go through and verify.
Right, and this is why we have a trial window. Same thing with you, Valerie. If you need to relabel the project, go ahead. So any changes that we're making in this trial window is going to stay in this trial window. So if we make those mistakes, we can try and catch them. That way it should not affect the validity of when the instrument goes officially live on March 13th. So we have 2 weeks to figure out everything. So I hope that answers your question, Robert and Valerie.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And Cami, yes, and it is okay. Should be okay to relabel. Oh, I see what you're saying. Keep it grades 6 through 12 though, because we just need to know from our end, at least. So I think you will know that for your school will be 6 through 8. As for sending a copy of the questions that students will see to the parents, that's a perfect segue into the next part. So let me first back up a little bit and talk about the LA resources folder. I've sent this in the email and I'll drop it again in the chat. When you go to this folder, you're going to access these pieces of information here. It's located on the School Safety Center's data webpage. I also sent that out earlier and I asked y'all to bookmark it. And what you can do is, again, it's right here. You click under technical assistance and you'll still access it. And as for the questions, can I send these questions out ahead of time for the parents? Yes. On the data page, if you scroll down a little more, here are the survey questions that we used. And they'll be from the adults. Click on it and you'll get all the questions. It'll be the same thing for each grade. The adults in the 6 through 12 survey are the longest questions, or the longest surveys with the most questions. And underneath the survey questions, Wynn had posted earlier, but this is the access to the public data dashboard as well. I also want to just go through the survey or the resources to show you what you'll see. Today's webinar, it's posted right here. So you can open it right now and flip through as you need. Also, if you really want to get into the weeds, I have created a document so that it goes step by step with everything. And just, if let's say you want to jump to check and delete test responses, jump there and it'll take you right to it. So you got several options. We'll have this webinar recording. We'll have this Google Doc here. You have the PowerPoint. Oh, thanks, Wynn. Thank you for clarifying that. I guess I answered incorrectly, Valerie. So appreciate that, Wynn. Thanks for covering for me. And the last thing that I want to mention on this LEA web resources part is, again, if you're still having issues setting up the survey, I got these office hours here. Register in advance. They're at certain times. They're usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. And if you can't make these hours, then email me and we'll work out a time that's best for you. So I think last part of the presentation then. Workshop time. So I'll try and demonstrate again. For those of us that will try to get that second go around with the survey, setting it up. Again, we're just trying to take the questions as best we can to help you out. And again, we'll confirm your test responses during the trial window. And I'll see if we can get a dashboard to make it faster, that we don't have that lag time. But right now I'm not sure how my predecessor was able to do that dashboard. Any questions? Okay, let's see. The chat says,
hey, Willie, one repeat question is if parents have to be on school premises to take the survey, or if parents and adults can take the survey remotely using the link.
My understanding is parents can take it anywhere, since as long as it's through an anonymous link. As long as you can make it anonymous responses, then they should be able to, they can take their survey at home. I hope that helps for that person. The time frame for the trial window is going to be right there. So this is the time frame, and we still got a couple weeks to figure things out. And then as for demographic questions, yes, at the end of the surveys, there will be questions for students on race and gender and grade. As for, do LEAs have the ability to sort this data by school question? That is not a default question in the school climate survey. You will need to, as an LEA, click on add a block and then add your own question to that. That way you can disaggregate the data by campus. So I hope that answers that question. And Michelle, as for the active exit survey, you might need to contact Cami Dupree for that, because I'm not sure how the protocol is for that survey. I don't want to accidentally say something wrong on her behalf. How do you make it anonymous? I can go ahead and show how to distribute that. Also, when it comes to distributing, I'll let you know, and in the PowerPoint and in the document, these are hyperlinks. And you'll be going to the distribution tab, and this is really tiny. So let's see if I can make it bigger here. So you'll be going to distributions. And it can take a while. And in distributions, there's supposed to be.
Get a single reusable link.
Yeah, normally this looks a little different from before.
It's to be published.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. I haven't published it yet. So, yeah. And so you'll see right here, there's a. Try that again. There's an anonymous link, response function. And there you go. Copy and paste this or copy survey link. And then that's what you'll embed into your email blast or parent portal or whatever it is. So Mark, that is a possibility, I believe. Oh, that was already answered.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we got Valerie sorted out or not. I may have misunderstood what you meant by relabel. I interpreted your question to mean, can you name the project whatever you want in Qualtrics? That's what I was responding to. I wouldn't recommend relabeling anything besides that. If I misunderstood, I apologize. One other thing that might be worth considering with these anonymous links is if you're unhappy with the long string of characters that are meaningless, you can use like a bit.ly or a tiny URL or something, third-party resource to rename this somehow, if you'd prefer, and still like, hide the link behind a name that says something like adult climate survey or something.
I think it's Angela Stanton from, I don't quite understand your question, but I do know that, oh, I see what you're saying. No, the sixth graders are expected to take the 6 through 12 survey. I don't know how that approval process happened for you last time, but we did have an LA ask about that as well. And I talked with my coordinator, Chantel Coda, and she said the 6th through 12th graders are expected to take, even if the 6th graders are attached to an elementary, they are still expected to take the 6th through 12th grade survey. And then the 3rd through 5th graders should only take the 3rd through 5th. And the reason why is because this is going to affect the validity of the data then, because then you're having 6th graders actually being falsely represented as fifth graders. So I hope that answers your question, Angela. You're welcome.
Sorry, Willie, I have to ask a clarifying question on that same thing that you just answered. The questions in the 7 through 12 survey ask questions about participating in these events that are not available to elementary students. So that's why 2 years ago, they told us for the sixth graders, it was more applicable for the elementary survey than it does for the 7th grade survey. If you look at the questions, they're just different environments.
Yes, no, that's completely understandable. There are unfortunately certain limitations to this survey and the questions themselves.
But that is why they let us do it. For those of us who have 6th grade in elementary school, that's why they said give the elementary school survey instead of the middle school, instead of the secondary school survey, because they don't have those secondary school experiences.
Right, and that's completely understandable. Again, it was just from what I was told by my coordinator. She said to not do that, but what we can do, maybe there is a misunderstanding. If you could email, let me provide her name. Her name is Chantel Coda. She oversees the School Safety Center. Email her and CC me on it. That way we can just re-clarify. But from my understanding is, even though, like you said, because the 6th grade LEs do have certain 6th graders, that may not experience some of the secondary aspects. So there was permission in the past, maybe. But to clarify, if we have those permissions for this iteration. But from my understanding for now, it's not the case. So I will, if you could email her, that would be great on that.
I will be happy to, but I will tell you that our school district will balk big time at sending the secondary one to elementary schools.
Okay. Yeah, no, again, this is really helpful to know, and thank you, because again, we're just picking up the pieces from my predecessor. And
I mean, the 6th grade one was, if I understand correctly, designed for 6th grade students. So if you give the one that's for 6th grade and older to your 6th graders, it should be appropriate as far as I understand.
When I respectfully disagree, because it is a 6 through 12 survey, which means it is meant for kids in a junior high, middle school, secondary setting. So if
I understand.
Yeah, so look at the questions, look at that one that she's looking at: student government, musical groups, school clubs. There's nothing extracurricular. There is nothing like that in an elementary setting.
Those are great points. Thanks for explaining that further.
I think if it does help, there is at least a not applicable button or a choice. I'm wondering, again, we're still going to clarify that with my higher ups, but I think that's why initially it was said to still go ahead with the 6th graders on this survey. So we'll definitely try and clarify that. Any other initial questions? Because with an hour left, I am more than happy to demonstrate again how to do the survey again. And yes, I'll definitely let you all know about the 6th grade question. Great.
Can I get her phone number? This is a conversation. This is not an email.
That is a good question. Let me find her phone number. Is it this one? Her phone number is Also, when do you think Aaron needs to be put on this, or is that not going to be related?
Cassell or Bruff?
Thanks for clarifying, Bruff.
I wouldn't hurt to CC Aaron. I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Aaron Bruff is the data and statistics coordinator or director. Oh, sorry. That first number is for Chantel. And then Aaron's information is and his number is very similar. Let's see. But if you could also, I know you're going to be calling Chantel, if you could also send an email and CC me on it, that way there's just documentation, because that would be really helpful. Great. Any other questions? I think I just, again, when you utilize your time wisely, I would like to go and just do another demonstration of the survey just in case. Ooh, that's a good point. How about this then? Could you email me? That way, I know I could generate the email, but I just want to make sure that I'm not misspeaking on your LEA's behalf. If you could email me, and then I will forward that to Chantel. That way, that might reduce 17 conversations and just having it as one. And then the response we get, we can add it to the website to clarify, or I can also email everyone once with the results. Will that work? Sending me the email, and then I will escalate it up. Yep, and I'm definitely going to do another demonstration. All right, so keep those questions coming. I'm just going to do another demonstration just to make sure we're comfortable with the process. And yes, you do need to generate a test for each survey. So if you have 4 surveys to distribute, that's going to be 4 responses, 1 for each test. If you're only going to use 2 surveys, it'll be just 2 responses, 1 for each test. So if I were going to start now with, if I'm going to create another survey then, because I've technically done the adult, I'll go back to either the 3 lines at the top, or you may have had that create project button somewhere else. Right here, create a new project. Either way, you'll hopefully get to this kind of home screen. And then you'll click the survey button. And then that will populate this right side here to get started. When I have no idea what that question is. And then this time when you're titling your school climate survey, and Valerie, maybe this is what you were alluding to about changing the name. And that, I believe that's what, when was, oh, sorry, go ahead. And I'll do K2. That's the group for this one. I will now import a QSF file. This is where this could be the place of grief here. And again, we accept, select the appropriate one. So now I need to select K through 2. And I'll create the project. And this could take a little bit, especially as we've experienced with some lag today. And if things go well, the question should be imported. The K through 2 survey is the shortest. There's just 10 questions. So here, or sorry, there's 7 and then the 6 for this is where the demographic questions, I believe, were. What grade, sex, and race, ethnicity. And this is where we had talked about earlier. If you want to add a question for your LEA, you would click add block and LEA, maybe title it LEA specific questions or whatever you need to do. Add a new question, pick the type. I would recommend not doing open choice because that may not be the most helpful data. What? I'll just say test question. Choice 1, choice 2, choice 3. Yes, Dore, just email me to let me know that it'll be created. And keep on adding any additional questions you need to. And then you'll click publish as well. Oh, actually, sorry, I need to change one more thing, but you'll add your questions, but the most important thing is, I already forgot that, the survey flow. This is where we had some grief earlier, but setting that value now specifically for your LEA. So you'll click that set a value now. And it was supposed to be specific to your LEA as seen in the LEA resources, under LEA name embedded data. I will drop that link in the chat again. And again, if you can't copy and paste it for some reason, just type it as is. So that will be in the custom value here. And then most importantly, after you've changed that LEA embedded data, you need to click apply. Yes, Rebecca, email me once I should rephrase it, not created the surveys, once you've generated test responses for your survey. So the moment you create it, you don't have to email me yet. You need to email me for confirmation when you've generated the test responses. That way I know those test responses to look for your LEA's test responses to make sure that it's going through. So this is grayed out. Looks like it has done what it needs to do. So now I'll go back. You're welcome. To the survey icon. I will publish my survey because I've already added the questions. And publish. Don't copy the link yet, right? Because we're still in the trial window. So to see and make sure that this is now going to be operating appropriately, we will need to generate test responses. So you go to Tools, Generate Test Responses. And this is the part where I said to change the default 5 to a response of 1. It will maybe take a little less time with the K through 2 survey just because it's less questions, but we only need one response generated. And you'll click generate. And this does take time. When you're done generating, you'll close this and do this as many times you need for the other surveys for your LEA. But once you've done generating responses for all the surveys in your LEAs, notify me. That way I can keep track of that. And I'll let you know that your responses are going through. There you go, close. And just repeat, wash and repeat. So other than that, that concludes the webinar. Do you have any additional questions? And again, I appreciate your patience with us today as we, as we did experience some frustrations. And I just want to point out again with the data website here, if I have my office hours, and if these times don't work, email me and we'll work out a time. Angela, that's a good question. We may have to, if you want to set up some office hours again, or a time outside the office hours, and we can figure out what's going on there. So other than that, if you need to contact anybody else today, let me just share my contact information again. I had that slide. So email any of us if you have any questions. Can questions and answers be read? Yes. So the proctoring instructions do go over that. There is a before you begin part for the educators, just making sure, again, do the students have their electronic devices? Again, following combinations. And right here, it's recommended to read through the italicized verbal instructions here. But depending on the reading levels within the class, particularly the younger grade levels, questionnaire items should be read aloud. So that is covered in the proctor instructions. And they're pretty short. It's just these three. The only thing is once you get to the part 2, the option, there's some changing of options. So for the younger grades, you would say you'll be choosing yes, no, or sometimes, or for the older grade levels, you'll be choosing this statement here. Any other questions? Again, that's what we got right now. And we'll definitely try and figure out that answer to the 6th grade question.
Yeah, thanks, Stacy and others for that. We'll give that some serious thought and talk to some other folks and see if we can come up with a good solution. Thanks for the exchange on that.
How do I get the test responses? Qualtrics does its magic, and I can see responses from my end. And the system should automatically generate the test responses. And so, again, to generate test responses, it'll be here in Tools, Generate Test Responses. You can also, though, if you've already published the survey, you can actually just take your survey yourself and go to the anonymous link. And if you want to, you can literally just start clicking through this. It just tends to take a little longer. So that's why I suggested generating test response. But you can actually go through your own survey using your own anonymous link to see how it feels like it would be taking the actual survey. So I hope that answers that question, Delene.
And that's also key to why if you add questions, you make sure you do it at the end of the block and not in between. the other questions because of the way the survey is built. It automatically uploads. So just another reminder, if you had anything, put it at the end.
Any other questions? Also, would welcome some feedback too. Feel free to add what you think that we could do to improve. We definitely understand the frustration parts though. So if there's other things that we could do to help improve your experience with this school climate survey administration. Which LEAs here have 6th grade and elementary, and who has them in middle/secondary? Awesome, thanks for responding to that. Any other questions? And I'll definitely try to also get the documentation from the Zoom webinar, just to keep this in mind. Before we end today, is there also any other things you need me to go back and re-explain or just show again on the resources page? You're welcome. I know this may have been the most helpful, but at least we have a starting point to get this through, and we'll have a couple more weeks. So if you are experiencing any issues, we got those 2 weeks to wrap those up before the survey starts on the 13th. For the individuals that were successful today, I'm starting to see my email inbox being flooded. So thank you for sending those confirmation emails, and I will try to respond to them definitely by every Monday and Wednesday to let you know that your LA is good to go. Thank y'all. Appreciate it then. And just email us if you have any questions.
Thanks, well
Willie.
done. See ya.
Appreciate it, Willie.
Thank you. For the people remaining, do y'all still have any questions? Well, if y'all don't have any questions, that ends the webinar, and our USBE audiovisual team will get the webinar recording posted. So thank y'all so much for your time today, and I'll give you 30 minutes back. So take care.